Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care. Speaker, this government has failed Shania Page. Ms. Page is a young woman suffering from a mental illness. As Christina Blizzard of the Toronto Sun noted, this isn't a human tragedy of immense proportion. And she wrote, and I quote, "It's an infuriating, terrifying, and a pathetic indictment of the hypocrisy we spout about mental illness in this."
Sorry, the member will withdraw. You cannot quote something from the outside that you can't say here, so please withdraw.
I'll withdraw. Mr. Speaker, this was a case of someone who was in desperate need of mental health services and couldn't get the help she needed. Mr. Speaker, is the minister embarrassed he tells people to seek help while the very help they need isn't there because this government has cut it?
Thank you. Minister of Health, Long-Term Care.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the member opposite is correct. This is a very, very serious issue, and it's one that I personally take very seriously. It's also a complex issue, but there's no question that we need to ensure, Mr. Speaker, when an individual is facing a mental health crisis, that they're provided at that moment of time, they're provided with the right supports that they need in order to that the correct pathway is followed. Yeah. We don't want to see those individuals moving where there could potentially be a violent episode against themselves or other persons, or where there could head down that path of the criminal justice system, because that's the wrong path for these individuals. We need to make sure, and we need to invest in money that will go to provide those supports at that moment of time, so that the person gets the right supports, that they get connected with the emergency services that they require, the community resources that they require, the primary care resources that they need to be stabilized and get better.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. Back to the Minister. Minister, you're a lot of talk with zero action. It's been over a decade, and you keep saying the same things over and over, and more people are dying or ending up in our correction services with zero supports. You would have thought this government, Mr. Speaker, would have learned something from the death of Ashley Smith in 2007. Her death in solitary confinement in a Kitchener institution was tragic. But just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, this government continues to cut much-needed mental health services. This government loves to talk and tweet about Bell Let's Talk Day, but fail to actually offer any real help to those in need. Mr. Speaker, what will it take? How many more people will have to die before this government takes funding mental health services seriously?
Thank you. Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can't believe that the member opposite would take an individual's crisis and use it for such political partisan reasons. We're investing over $3 billion in our healthcare system specific to mental health and addictions. That continues to go up each and every year, $137 million new dollars over the next 3 years as we engage in a new phase of mental health supports.
The member asked the question. Come to order, please. And the member behind you, the member from Prince Edward Hastings, is warned. Finish, please.
Over $810 million last year alone for our community mental health supports across this province. I know there's more work to be done. Of course, we'll never reach that point of providing those supports that individuals need unless we work together, implement the best advice that we're getting from, for example, the Leadership Advisory Council that we have that is advising me, making those important investments and making sure that individuals who are facing these crises and these challenges get the support they need.